And welcome to the Bill and Joe Show. We are brought to you by TomSlayton.com, SLATIN.com. He is a photographer, website designer, blogger, writer, journalist. Just a great guy to work with and a great artist in his own right. Make sure to go over to TomSlayton.com today. Today it is just me, but we've got a special treat coming up in the second segment. I am joined by Vinny No Filter. You can find him on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. He's also got a podcast. He's in a little bit of a vacation mode from it, but you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher. The backlog of all of his podcasts are he's got a lot, and it's just Vinny, and it's called "What's Wrong with This Podcast?" iTunes, Stitcher, and all he basically does is just tell you what he thinks about everything, and he's a funny guy. And we're going to get to some of the stand-up comedy routines that me and him have in common, doing the stand-up. And when we'll be talking about that, it makes me think of me and Joe's stand-up routine. We finally got up the balls to do it, and it's kind of one of those things that. And the thing about, like doing stand-up, it's something that I've always wanted to do ever since I saw Eddie Murphy, Delirious, and then I saw Raw. It kind of started me going down this path of, man, it would be really cool to make people laugh all the time. Like, I make my friends laugh. I could do this. So I had this whole routine, and it was all like loosely based off of Brad Pitt. He was like the underlining what do comedians call it? It's the the metronome, I guess. It's like I chose Brad Pitt to be my underlining theme throughout this whole thing, and I just bombed. I bombed. I had my wife, I had my closest friends. I couldn't make anybody laugh, and it was humiliating. Like I've been in bands, I've been on stage, I've been in front of the microphone like almost my entire life, and I've done plays and I've done, rock band shows where people leave. I've had shit thrown at me because we were so bad. Like none of that compares to trying to tell a joke and nobody laughing. It is awful. God, it is bad. It is terrible. And especially when you can see the people. Like there was this one girl who she went up after me, I think I was like the first one, which of course sucked. But I went on with a stage name Billy Rocket, so I think that's why they pushed me to the front, because it was such a stupid name. But there was this one girl who went on after me, who I had noticed when I was telling jokes. She just sat there stonewalled. Like I couldn't even get her to crack like a corner smile. Like I couldn't get her to do anything. And she went on stage and she was funny. I didn't hold it against her. I laughed at her. But then I kind of noticed that she never laughed at anybody. Like she was one of those comics that, stonewall other comics. And I don't understand that. But anyway, Vinny No Filter, he was doing a little bit of comedy, so I'm going to check in with him after the break and see if he's still doing that. But sorry, this week it's me again. Tuesday night I had my kids, and Aunt Joe and Emma, I had to let them go so I could spend some time with the kiddos. But anyway, so what's up? Everybody check us out on Twitter, The Bill Joe Show, Facebook, The Bill Joe Show, Instagram, The Bill Joe Show. I will be posting photos, and so will Joe. And follow us there. And anybody who's on Fiverr, anybody who has a business that they want to promote, find us on Fiverr, FIVERR.com, and we will talk about you here on this show. Anyway, I digress. I move on to the question portion of the show, and I wanted to answer these as honest as I possibly can. Bill and Joe. Joe's not here, so it's just Bill. Have you ever been arrested? My daughter is 7 years old, and her grandfather has let her watch Law and Order SVU, Special Victims Unit, And I had to talk to my wife about it and kind of try and put a stop to that because, as if Law and Order alone wasn't bad enough. Special Victims Unit, my daughter doesn't need to be hearing about how, well, apparently he slit her throat from left to right all the way down to the vertebrae, and then he raped the hole in her throat and then came up her nose. Like she doesn't need to listen to that. But for some reason or another, I'm okay with her watching Cops or Jail. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I am. But I think that there's nothing wrong with you watching, a television show dealing with real life cops, that are doing drug pullovers. It teaches my daughter to, respect police, respect the law, don't do drugs because you're going to look cracked out like that lady. Like she's learning a lot from it. And my mom has even been like, "Why are you letting her watch Cops?" And I'm like, "Because I think it's a good show for her to watch. When the cop turns on the lights, you don't go run away from him in a car unless you want to go to jail." So she's really enamored with law enforcement and stuff like that. And she asked me the other day, she was like, "Dad, have you ever been arrested?" And I had to tell her that, yes, I have. And she's like, "Did they shoot you?" And I was like, "With a taser. Not a gun, but a taser gun, I guess." And she's like, "You got tased?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What did it feel like?" And her eyes got all big, and she was on the edge of her seat. She just wanted to hear all about it. I left some details out. The fact that I was drunk, I was at a casino. I was asked to leave even though they were still serving me because I was too drunk, and I just thought that was bullshit. I handled it probably not the best way that I could have, but I did feel like I was not the obnoxious one here. I was not being disrespectful to anybody. I was just having a hard time understanding Chinese Texas Hold'em. So the employee came up to me and he was like, "Excuse me, we're going to have to ask you to leave." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You're going to either leave now and grab your chips or you could talk to the sheriff." And I was like, "Okay, I'll talk to the sheriff." So the sheriff came over and he's like, "Look, you're going to go. You got to go. Grab your chips." And I was like, "Okay, but can you explain to me what I did wrong?" And he couldn't. He said, "Look, you're either going to leave or I'm going to make you leave." I was like, "Okay." So then he grabbed my arms and he started kind of marching me out towards the main exit. And as we got closer to the main exit, it was almost like a movie, like you're on a roller coaster almost. And you're going straight, and then I took a hard left, and all of a sudden I was in this office room, and he just searched me, and everything I asked for water, he wouldn't give it to me. I was like, "I really need a drink," and I'm handcuffed at this point with my hands behind my back, and look in, and there's a bathroom right here. I was like, "Look, I'll just take a drink out of the sink. I don't even care. I can turn it on with my nose." He's like, "If you get up, I'm going to tase you," and strangely enough, I've always wanted to know what it felt like to be tased. I didn't particularly want to be tased, but, worst case scenario, I can cross something off my bucket list if he's for real. I don't think he's for real. I'm handcuffed. I'm going into the bathroom to turn the sink on with my nose and take a drink of water. There's no way that it was like, I'll never forget the sound that the taser makes. It's like those little pop rocks when you throw them on the ground, except like two at the same time. And it has this effect, and then I didn't even realize what was going on until after it was over. And then they got to pull those little pins out of your skin. So yeah, of course I left all the gruesome details out to my daughter, but yes, to answer your question, I have been arrested. And Bill and Joe, how often do you cry? What types of situation can bring you to tears? This is Full House. Anytime at the end of an episode of Full House, when the music kicks in and Danny or Jesse or anybody is, having this heart-to-heart with Michelle or DJ or anything, can't make it through an episode of Full House. Can't do it. I don't know why. I really have no idea. I'm a really emotional guy. I cry a lot. I try and, I hold it in. I don't let it out very much, but Certain commercials can bring me to tears, and that's really lame of me to admit, but movies, of course. I mean, just about anything, like weddings. A good speech at a wedding, could really, really, really drive it home. So, seeing my kids, in any sort of pain, I don't like it. That'll make me cry. A lot of different things, and I consider myself a crier, but I don't really cry that much, if that makes any kind of sense. But Joe Bill, what are your physical or personality traits that attract people to you? Well, I mean, first of all, I'm a 10. I mean, let's just get that out of the way. Like, everybody knows that. No, I'm not trying to beat myself up over here, but I really don't know what attracts people to me. Joe is kind of a different situation. He's very outspoken. He's the life of the party. And if he demands the attention in the room, and if he doesn't get it for whatever reason, he eventually will. It doesn't matter to Joe what lengths he would need to go to, or how many Jack and Diet Cokes he'll have to have. He'll make the evening memorable. Me, on the other hand, I'm more of a wallflower. I kind of sit there, quiet. I'm in no way trying to be like I'm mysterious or anything like that. But I guess if there's any reason that anybody would want to talk to me, and this has happened, is this show. A lot of people want to be like, wait, what, hold on a second. You mean to tell me that you guys just talk about whatever you want? Like people will ask you questions and you answer them, or you guys just tell a story about what you did and people actually listen to it? And it's like, yeah. People are blown away by that. Blown away by that. Me and Danielle were at a wedding once, and there was this guy, this fucking dickhole of a man, who just wouldn't accept it. He just wouldn't accept that anybody would listen to either one of us, until I had to go to the bar to get me and Danielle a couple more drinks, and I came back, and he was just really into her, and he was like, I make so much money. I make so much money. There's no way you guys make money off your show. Not as much as I make. Just, think about it. That's all. And I wanted to punch him, or high five him with a chair. But I didn't. I kept my cool. I'm used to that. She's a pretty girl. But yeah. Dudes can be dicks. But that might be the reason why people are, quote unquote attracted to me, is because I'm generally just a nice guy who is not going to be your stereotypical frat fuck, and kind of keep to myself, and I don't need to puff or fucking peacock all over the place like most guys do. So yeah, I guess that would be it. And thanks to Danielle, I have an extreme amount of confidence in myself, which I probably shouldn't have, but I do. So I wear it when I walk, and I wear it the way I dress, and all this other stuff that you learn how to deal with. But coming up after the break, I am joined again by Vinny No Filter. His podcast is What Is Wrong With Us? That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Thank you guys for listening to the Bill and Joe Show. All right, guys, we have talked about them before. The Boom Boom Girls of Wrestling, new movie on Kickstarter. Search for Boom Boom Girls of Wrestling. It's a horror film about these young, beautiful ladies that are trying to get into the business of professional wrestling, and the whole trip goes awry. I'm talking broken car, don't know what they're going to do. They're stranded. Pretty girls in pretty clothes, stranded out in the middle of nowhere. And all they're trying to do is get into the professional business of professional wrestling. It's a fantastic idea. It's actually directed and written by an actual woman who was in the profession once herself, and she even acts in it. So it's a fantastic idea. Go to Kickstarter.com, search for the Boom Boom Girls of Wrestling. Verbe du jour. Don't worry, I'm going to spell it, but I think it's French. Verb